Hello. Camera on. Recording.
Hello everybody, it's me again. Welcome to Mount Mitchell. Apparently, the highest point east of the Mississippi. I didn't know that. I didn't even know it was here. As I was cruising up the BRP, I saw a big tower, like three of them. One of them obviously cell phone tower. One of them was probably TV. The other one looked like birdhouses. They're over there, I think. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I slowed down and I was kind of paying attention. I like things like that. I don't know why. There they are. And I saw a sign that said observation tower this way. And the one that looks like a birdhouse, the top of it kind of looks like the Seattle Space Needle. And I was like, oh, maybe you go up there. And it turned to go into a state park. And I was like, well, we'll see how much state park costs. And I pull in, and lo and behold, the state park, the office doesn't have a gate. They don't force you to pay. And I don't know what the deal is with that. Some states do, some don't. Now, if you're going to camp or whatever, yeah, you've got to stop and at least register. I don't know if they charge you. But, or maybe it's just this one state park is free. I don't know. But I didn't go up to the towers like I thought I would. But on the top is this round platform that's about 10 feet off the ground. And it's an observation deck, 360-degree view. You can actually see Clingman's Dome, which is the highest point in Tennessee, is in the middle of the Smoky Mountains over in Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And it's like 100 miles away. Or, well, now it's probably about 60 as the crow flies. I'll put a little annotation in there because I can figure that out when I get home. But basically, unless it's clear, you're not actually going to see shit. But you could see the valley that Asheville's in, and they had a map on the wall that's like, you're here facing this way. It was really pretty cool. And the reason why I'm telling you about all this is, it is neat. It is, if you're ever out on the Blue Ridge, it's called Mount Mitchell. It's worth checking out. It's a 300-yard hike up a fairly steep hill. My out-of-shape fat ass had to stop halfway up, catch my breath. That's kind of normal. There is camping up here. Apparently a weather station. But I've had several people ask me why. See, I left work early on Thursday because I covered a weekend shift and I get a day and a half off if I do that. So I left work at noon Thursday, and then Friday, I put down about 60 miles on the BRP Thursday afternoon. And then Friday and Saturday, I'm going to cover the rest, which is right at about 500 miles. So I'm doing like 230 to 250 miles a day, which is not much. In theory, if I leave at like 7 o'clock in the morning from the campground that I was staying at last night, I could cover the entire parkway in one shot. It would be one non-stop shot. And stuff like this is the reason why you don't really want to do that. If your only goal is to be able to tell somebody, yeah, I rode the entire Blue Ridge, then fine, do it all in one shot. But when you do that, you lose the ability to stop and take things in. And I'm not going to stop at every overlook, dear God, that'd take forever. There's one like every 3 miles. But neat little things like this are worth it quite often. And in fact, Grandfather Mountain, which is right up the road, 40 or 50 miles, the map showed a little bridge up there, so I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm going to find out. Also, gas is scarce on the BRP. I've heard that there are gas stations on it, but they're definitely going to be expensive, and maybe further up in Virginia. So far, I haven't seen anything on the Blue Ridge other than park headquarters things or park offices. So, really, when you're planning your trip across the PRP, you've got a plan to go 60 miles less than whatever your typical gas range is, because you probably are going to have to turn off the parkway and go a bit to get gas, and in some places that could be 20 or 30 miles to the next town. I've got it set up so that I'm doing about 115 miles in between gas stops, and what that works out to is one gas stop a day. The last one only had like 80 miles on the tank, but whatever. I would rather make a stop every 100 miles than have 170 miles on the tank and not know exactly where I'm stopping for gas. You know, this thing, if I'm nice to it, I can get about 220 miles off a tank. My typical tank is like 180. So you got to take that into account too, and taking a longer time to ride the entire parkway gives you some leeway there. You know, and I just don't like being in a hurry. You know, I got up at like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock this morning and took an hour to eat breakfast. Screw it. And all I had was a couple of cups of coffee and a sandwich, a biscuit sandwich thing. So that's why. If you're wondering why, you know, it's going to take me 3 days to ride the entire Blue Ridge, that's it.
Recording stopped. Goodbye.